So this is an analysis of the replacing elements problem from the educational Codeforces round 102. So you have an array of n integers, a1, a2, an, and all of them are positive integers. So the first step is choosing three distinct indices, I, j, and k, and assigning the sum of aj and ak to make ai. So ai is equal to aj plus ak. And the question is asking if you can make all of AI lower than or equal to a value d using the operation above as many times as necessary. So the first line contains a single integer, t, which is the number of test cases, and then the first line of each test case contains two integers, n, which is the number of elements, and d, which is the artificial number, the return number. Make all the numbers lower than or equal to. And then the second line of each test case contains all n integers. So let's take the first test case, which is 2, 3, 2, 5, and 4. But we know d is equal to 3. So essentially what you're trying to do is make it so that every element in this array is less than or equal to d by using the operation that a of I equals a of j plus a of k. So one thing to look out for is you want to find the smallest possible value of this addition. Because if the smallest possible value of it is already greater than d, then there would be no way that this operation would help you make all the other numbers less than d. So to find the smallest possible number, you could just sort the array in ascending height or ascending value, and then take the first two values from the array. So if you sort this, maybe 2, 2, 4, 5, and then aj is equal to 2, and ak is also equal to 2. So now, adding these two together, aj plus ak is equal to 4. No, 4 is greater than 3. So this operation right here won't help us in achieving the goal of making all values less than or equal to d. So if we find that this function does not work, the last thing we can do is test whether or not all the values of the array already are less than or equal to the value d. So we would loop through the whole array. Not the whole array. Loop through from n equals for this third value right here till the end, because we've already tested the first two ones. Loop through the remaining values, and if there is a value that is larger than d, we know that it's impossible to get that number below d. So for that specific array, we wouldn't have a solution. We wouldn't be able to solve it. So yeah, that's one test case. Now let's use this test case right here, which is 2, 4, and 4, and then n equals 4. So off the bat, we can sort this array, and after sorting it will still remain 2, 4, 4. Continue along, aj is equal to aj is equal to 2, and then ak is equal to 4. So you know sum of those two is equal to 6, and 6 is larger than n. So we can't use this operation once again. We just have to individually test if all the values are less than or equal to n, to d's variable. So going through each element of this array, you can see that in fact it is true that each value is less than or equal to d. So for this specific test case right here, we would output that yes, it is possible to make an array such that every value is less than or equal to d. Well, in the first test case right here, we would output no, because it isn't possible to make some of the values less than or equal to d. So that's it. And so what's a code solution to this? So here's one in Java. So first you would read in all the data, get the number of test cases, and then so read in the data, get all the test cases, t, and then for each test case you read more data, which is the n and d, and then make an array list of all the new numbers. And then you would sort this array list such that you can get the first three values as their smallest ones, which you do right here. And then, so now, first thing you test is if b1 plus b2 is less than or equal to d. Because you know if b1 plus b2 is less than or equal to d, then you can just use the operation for every all the other values in the array list, and then it is guaranteed that all values will be less than or equal to d. So if this condition is true, you can automatically skip to the end because it would just automatically work. Otherwise, if b1 plus b2 is larger than d, then you just have to test the remaining values in the array list to check if those values are less than or equal to d. And then if there is a value that's larger than d, then you know it is impossible to make an array list where all values are less than or equal to d. And then after that, it's just outputting the data. And yeah, that's essentially